Today's topic, we're going to be talking about war hero John McCain, currently predicted to win the Republican nomination for the president.
Have you heard of the latest slam against him?
No, what's the latest slam on John McCain?
Who was it? The rich guy, Ross Perot, called Newsweek reporter. Yeah, I remember that.
I read that actually.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was the newest. But
long story. Well, newest that I know of.
That you know.
Long story short, Ross Perot calls and says John McCain's he didn't use these words, but he more or less implied that John McCain's just an opportunist who's using the stuff from being a POW and all that kind of stuff to use that to his advantage. And he's saying, Ross Perot said, not me. Ross Perot said that like even POWs won't even sit at the same table while they eat lunch with him. Whether now I don't know if that's true. Excuse me. This dude seems to have a different idea.
Well, the reality, I don't think anybody chooses to be a POW, prisoner of war. That's silly, and I don't really think
that's
he does.
That's not what Ross Perot.
I know, but
Ross Perot didn't say he chose to be captured and tortured and have his arms ripped out of his sockets.
But he implied. I mean, there's a lot of implication from South Carolina to Ross Perot that everything he did was just like John Kerry strategized in Vietnam. I think it's silly. I don't look at it that way.
Okay, to be fair, I'm pretty sure once he was a POW, well, even before then, but I'm pretty sure he was strategizing how to get out of there.
Well, I'm sure how to get out of there, but he chose to stay there. He chose to stay there because he felt, because his father was a general, and by rules of engagement, he should not have been in prison, but he chose to stay there because he felt that he needed to be with his men, which I think is very honorable. I don't think that he used it to his advantage. I think the reason that a lot of POWs don't like him, or former POWs and a lot of people in the military that don't support him, is not because he really tries to take advantage of the fact that he was one, but I just don't think they like his policy. I mean, I think most of them
I think that's a heck of a lot more fair. So be aware there are going to be some, especially if he wins, there's going to be a lot of personal attacks from rich people that don't like John McCain.
Well,
so watch out for that.
Well, and I think, if you're a Republican, I was listening to Sean Hannity all week long talking about John McCain. I like John McCain, but he's not a real conservative, and I'm not a Republican. This is what Sean Hannity said. I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative, and I like John McCain, but he's not a real conservative, and he'd go off on immigration and finance reform for elections and other things, and so I think it's not really So I guess if you're an ultra conservative, he may not fit your need for president, but tell me any ultra conservative Republican that's running right now, because I can't think of them. They all don't fit the conservative mold completely. There's each of them have their little niche, but as Romney tries to use all the time, there's the three stool part of the Republican Party, and none of them fit all three.
He said stool.
Yeah, he said stool. That's right. But the thing about John McCain, I think that people liked is that he had the straight talk express. But I think for those independent and moderate voters out there, what they didn't like was the fact that he started to pander to the Christian right, which he called the forces of intolerance, and then he's gone and spoke at their universities, and I think that he may have a problem trying to, if he does get the Republican nomination, to refocus to get those independent votes. And it depends on who he's running against. I think he has the best shot against Hillary Clinton.
Well, they love each other though.
Yeah, they're both sure. I mean, they're both cranky old people, so I mean.
No,
he's in his 70s, she's in her 60s, and they're cranky and old. I was thinking about
this actually might happen, because I guarantee you, when Hillary wins the nomination, because she will win, unfortunately, she's going to win. I mean, Obama's got some great ideas, but you can't stop the Clinton machine. Now, if Obama wins, that's fine, but I'm just saying, Hillary is not going to pick Obama as a running mate.
She's already chosen either Vilsack or Bob from Indiana.
There was talk a few years ago about a Hillary and McCain ticket.
It won't happen, because remember John Kerry asked McCain to be his running mate, and John McCain said, "No, I'm a Republican, and I will never be on an independent or Democrat ticket." He straight up said that. So I don't.
So he said that to John McCain.
No, he said it publicly. He went on the talk show and said it just.
He and Hillary are much better friends than he.
No. Him and John Kerry are really good friends. They're close friends.
He and Hillary are good friends too, though.
No, I wouldn't say they're as close. I think the reality is that there are rumors like that, but I don't believe them, especially from the way that John McCain's talking and the way that he's become a complete partisan. I don't see it happening.
You know why he's going partisan, though, don't you?
So he can win.
He can win the nominations.
But
It's
if he was bipartisan, then he would have done it during the 2004 because he and John Kerry became really, really close friends in the Senate.
I don't think he thought that John Kerry could win.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that John Kerry, until he got swift voted, had a pretty good chance. The problem with the Democrat presidential candidates is they don't know how to fight against the swift vote type of attacks. I mean, go back to Michael Dukakis and then John Kerry and Al Gore. They all got what we call swift voting. So
wait, how did Al Gore get swift voted? He was just boring to talk.
No, he was boring, but he let Bush and the Bush team define him. Part of
that's not swift voting.
No. Swift voting is letting the opponent or letting an opponent campaign or ideologues define the candidate. That's what swift voting is.
No,
taking an issue to do it.
Is when you pick something that someone's done that can be interpreted negatively, and focusing and making that a really big deal.
Right, that's just what I said. We're using different words to describe the same thing here.
No, like you're saying, like if I ever said Al Gore is a boring environmentalist, and I just keep saying
but they didn't
That's
take
not
that.
swift voting.
No. If you remember, they swift voted. The term swift voted him on the words he used on "I created the internet" to lockbox to
no, but they didn't do
issues.
that. But that was a long time ago. That's
but they were doing that
from the comedians forever.
But they were doing that in the 2000 campaign. Bush did that. I mean, in his campaign ads and everything across the country, he was using those kind of things. It's the same kind of issue, some kind of swift vote mentality, and that's I guess. Anyway, back to McCain. I mean, McCain may have not felt that Kerry could have won or not.
No.
But
hold on. But, for me, you just kind of like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Are you like Hannity?
Wow.
I heard. I know that was below the belt. I'm sorry. but here's like the swift vote thing. It was he actually did something. I mean I guess I can see your point, but I don't really feel like Al Gore was swift voted in any means. I just think, I can't.
For somebody who got to experience Florida firsthand, which I did.
Yeah, there you go.
And from watching politics very closely, I truly believe that maybe not to the extent of John Kerry, but and not to the extent of Michael Dukakis by any means. The Republicans have their tactics of how to win elections, and it has nothing to do with ideas, but has everything to do with emotions, and that's how they play. They play on taking a little vague idea, generalizing it, and then using that to say this is what we're for, and then we're going to attack our opponent on issues whether they're real or not, and making them huge big deals, or allowing their surrogates to do so. And John McCain came out at the time and said, "Well, these things aren't true about John Kerry," but he let them go, and that's part of the problem with McCain. He's supposed to be the straight talking express man, but then he doesn't do the straight talking express when it's not convenient for him.
Yeah,
so,
he does he's a straight talker when it helps him out, and when it doesn't help him out, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between him and Giuliani.
Except on social issues, but yes, I mean, John McCain. I used to have a lot more respect for John McCain than I do now. I really liked a lot of the things that he was for in the past and how he acted, especially in the 2000 election. I might have voted for him against Al Gore. I mean, I liked Al Gore, but the way he is now, it just makes it's a hard thing for me to deal with because
he's doing what he's doing. Because the reason he didn't win the nomination back before because he stuck to his principles more or less. But now that if he really wants to win, he has to go to
the indicators of intolerance, to the perpetrators of intolerance and of hate, and these are the words he used, and now he's trying to get their support. Either he's changed his mind, which would be a horrible thing to do because he's now supporting intolerance, or he's just playing politics and it's not worth it. That's my opinion.